Welcome, One Rental at a Time community. I have the great pleasure to interview Mr. Sean Cannell. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing super well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love it. So I know obviously you're huge on social media, huge on YouTube, but for a few people who may not know who you are, maybe share who you are, founder of Think Media, and maybe talk a little bit about your backstory and getting started.
Yeah, so today I'm running a team of about 30 people, about 25 W-2s, multi-million-dollar company. We're a video education company, so we teach people how to create content on all different types of budgets and really how to leverage YouTube and the other platforms to build their businesses, build their brand, get leads. What are the best strategies for growing on YouTube? So we have books and events and courses and lots of free content and multiple content creators producing content underneath our brand. But I obviously didn't start there. And I'm a small town kid, college dropout, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm absolutely overwhelmed and trying to figure out how to be a CEO. Really went from, a video editor to trying to scale the company and just get it started to now wearing the CEO hat to now we have like an HR department and we just offered our employees healthcare. So it's like been a crazy journey. And I grew up on 6 acres in Arlington, Washington, small town. And I got involved in video in my local church in 2003. So I've been doing video for over 20 years. And it's been wild being a part of the whole wave of YouTube, social media, kind of the creator economy, as they call it. And here we are.
I love it. I love it. So let's go back to some, like in the beginning, like I love a story you were sharing about, like you were waiting tables, but then creating content. When did you know, like, okay, YouTube's a real thing? And when did you, just as the individual content creator, when did you get serious about it? And maybe talk about those early years.
Yeah, I mean, so the first YouTube channel I started was for my church in 2007, which is so early. That's 2 years after YouTube started.
Yeah.
And started creating content for the church, but didn't really see it. It was more like a portfolio, a place to upload stuff, connect with the congregation, get them a sermon video, get them a recap of an event. But I was watching other creators and it seemed like a dream that was just out of reach. A few people started popping off and it was like, imagine if you could like make a living just making videos, but it was so early. And then it was 2009, I started a video production business. And by that time, I already kind of had the light bulb moment because I was freelancing for other businesses. And I discovered this fact, which is still true today. YouTube is a search engine and it's the second largest search engine in the world. So people had already realized, imagine if I could write a blog about expertise, about real estate, about mortgage, about loans. I mean, anybody, any loan officer, any agent, if you could rank for a blog or rank your website in your city. So once I started realizing, wait a minute, YouTube is the same thing. Like if I want to get discovered, I could rank, I could put a piece of video content out there. And I also saw it felt like at the time that websites and blogs, those had already been happening like a decade. But YouTube and video was brand new and it seemed a lot harder to people. So I was like, I see this window of opportunity. So really it was 2009, 2010 that I had this light bulb moment. Imagine if I could learn how to create videos that when people were searching for specific topics, they could find my content. And then once I discovered different ways to make money, and I realized that could be true passive income, meaning if I could post a video today that people keep finding for the next year, and then in that video, it leads to some kind of income stream. Passive income like affiliate marketing, active income like maybe passive prospecting like leads or clients, and like, oh, people keep discovering, my business because of this video. Once I had the light bulb moment in 2010, I was all in, but I still had to care for my family. I still had a day job and I was still working on it as I had a dream. While I had my day job, I was working on my dream job ever since then. Whenever I could, I would post videos. I would learn everything I could, consume everything I could, invest in myself, invest in my skills. And Think Media technically is 14 years old. It started in 2010. And so today the main channel is 2.5 million subscribers or whatever. And so that's been a 14-year journey, with the early years being super flat because A, I didn't know anything and I was just trying to figure it out. But B, I was also doing the side hustle thing where, like many of us, you're trying to juggle kids, school, life, clients, scaling your business, all that stuff.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about we have a couple of different types of audience and people in the community. So some people are W-2 corporate that have literally like no interest, probably not active in social media or very little. Then we also have maybe real estate professionals that are mortgage realtors or investor wholesaler types that are maybe active and such. In 2024, right now, where do you see opportunities for somebody that's maybe never produced a video? And then also maybe just talk a little bit about somebody who's maybe big on IG, Facebook, and like, what do you see as opportunities in 2024?
Yeah, I think one of the first things is personal branding. Like 74% of people say they're more likely to trust somebody with an established personal brand. Now, what's a personal brand? What do people discover when they search for you or they look for you? And I think about it in a W-2 environment. I hire people now, and I've gone through tons of applications, and our leaders go through tons of applications. And it's very important to us when we're trying to give a feel for somebody, we will look at their social media accounts. What's the vibe? Now, of course, you can make your Instagram private and things like that. But even that, I'm like, why is it private? Yeah. You know, it's fair enough, but like, what do you do? What is out there about you? And for a lot of people, you know, they're maybe not taking social media seriously, but it's really your social media becomes this reflection of your hobbies, your talents, your skills. And too many people, I think, are ignoring the power of personal brand. And so just creating content in general can lead to getting hired, your next best opportunity, getting a promotion, networking. There's all kinds of stats that also talk about even when the business you work for itself shares posts, it doesn't get very much engagement. But when the team and the employees reshare or post on behalf of the business, it gets 7 to 100 times more engagement because people connect with people, not with entities, logos. So I think about it, the importance would just be the opportunity for personal branding. Where's your portfolio? What happens when I Google you? What do I see on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube? And of course, it depends on the industry, but having video content out there is an accelerator of people getting to know you, which can be an accelerator of opportunity. It also, and listening to this, you might be a little bit nervous. Like if I get on camera, I'm going to freeze up. If I get on camera, what am I going to say? But I've also discovered, this would be the second reason, would be, start creating content for personal branding. Second reason, start creating content for personal growth. By learning how to do this stuff and getting uncomfortable, it will force you to level up and grow. You'll grow as a communicator. Warren Buffett said, communication is the #1 skill you should invest in to increase your net worth. So you'll grow as a communicator just by nature of doing it. It'll stretch you and it will make you ask 50 new questions. Shoot, how do I communicate better on camera? How do I turn on my camera? How do I do all this stuff? So it will lift your whole life by just investing in content creation process. Building a personal brand will lead to more opportunity. And for the professional, leads, clients, sales, the trust accelerator, because we do business with people we know, like, and trust. In a real estate professional environment, when people have watched 1 or 5 or 10 of your videos, by the time you meet, they might be signing the document. It happens all the time for people we coach in the real estate industry. They're like, oh yeah, I watch all your videos. I already know you. I already try. Even though we've never met, like, no, I'm good. Just send the DocuSign. I'll sign it right now. We don't even have to, because they're getting to watch your content online. So we're not even getting to if you actually grew a big channel or if you made money from it. I think there's so many reasons. And one other reason I would say for the W-2 employee would be what Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says. If you're in that cash flow quadrant and you're in that employee sector, you should also jump into the small business sector. And it doesn't mean you have to leave the W-2 sector. Start a side hustle, start something. Now, the ORAT community is all about that. They already maybe have an entity or your investing entity. But the cool thing is, as soon as you start a YouTube channel, you should think about it like this. I am starting a media business. So now when I am investing in gear, I'm investing in my education, I may be traveling, you're tapping into things like tax write-offs. For W-2 employees, my CPA, Matt, talks about if you're making right under even 100, you're making 90, 80, 70, just getting like the right entity, you can offset your W-2 income. You start saving thousands of dollars in taxes. So I think even just for entering it into a side hustle, And again, if you were never successful, not a tons of subscribers, not tons of views, I would argue the three things we just talked about are already worth it for, that's success. You have a stronger personal brand, you're personally growing, you're saving more money, you're making more money or taking advantage of the tax code ethically. Just that alone would be reason to do it, which would maybe be reason to, and then what happens though when now you're like, man, this blew up, like Michael Zuber. I never knew that I'd be throwing an event in Las Vegas, packed out, standing room only. I never knew that what this could lead to. You never know what's going to open on the other side of it. But I think even just starting and committing is reason enough for some of these benefits we've discussed.
So strong, so good. I love all of it. I want to go a little deeper. Something I've heard you say recently, I heard it for the first time, and you talked about content creators as you talked about micro and you talked about nano. And I feel like I heard that a couple of days ago. Unpack that a little bit, that thought process, and about everybody having opportunities within that.
Yeah. So after you start, let's say you're growing your personal brand, you're growing your skills, you're taking advantage of some taxes, kind of starting a side hustle, small business. Eventually, you could start tapping into what are called brand deals and brand sponsorships. And the cool thing about this is where brands might pay you. They also just might set up, and this is accessible to almost everybody at the start, JV relationships called affiliate relationships. Like you think about the value of a lead. I've heard at times what's it cost to pay Zillow for a lead. I mean, in some markets, it's $50. It could be $100, $175. Like what's a lead worth? So you start thinking that when sometimes you get paid by leads, sometimes you get paid on conversions. So being able to set up these relationships with brands, it could be lenders, it could be some kind of, I know one of my real estate investing friends, Anton, if he recommends deals out of state, they split commissions and all kinds of stuff like that. So just kind of the flow of leads and clients and different things that could happen. And I think about products in the real estate industry, but in any industry, you call these brand sponsorships. A brand might pay you money, give you free product. But for a lot of us, we have the false belief that it's only Khloe Kardashian and Kim Kardashian that get brand deals. Like, oh, of course, Doritos is going to work with, Ashton Kutcher, and that's what's happening. But this term, that would be called a macro influencer. Million subscribers, giant platform, and for most of us, it seems out of reach. Well, what the data is telling us is actually that brands prefer now to work with micro and nano influencers. So a nano influencer is somebody with less than 10,000 subscribers. A macro influencer is somebody with around 30,000, less or more. And that still means you've built some type of a platform, but now this becomes really practical. And basically it would be this: if they had 6 figures to invest in a marketing campaign for their product, instead of paying one large creator with 1 million subscribers $100,000, they might pay 100 nano influencers $1,000 each. Because what they realized is actually that whether it's over time you get a few bot followers, whether it's how deeply you're actually connected with your audience when you are a macro influencer, and these nano or micro influencers, and I kind of think, Michael Zuber is a great example of this, where he's not like some A-list superstar celebrity, but he's got a diehard community. I'm one. I'm watching daily financial news every day, and thousands of people do. And so again, you're like, oh, he's not Kanye West, obviously, he's not some superstar. But what brands are looking for is these people with these micro tribes, these communities, and that's accessible to everybody listening to this, to build a group. And now that could tap an opportunity where they will pay you money, maybe give you, and especially when you start building up your small business, like for me, it means I get maybe free software, free cameras, free business development tools. You have leverage. You can negotiate. You could set up year-long partnerships. So you start a video podcast like this, and you sign a sponsor for 6 months or 12 months. This show is brought to you by, this lender or something like that. And again, if you're a nano influencer with a smaller video podcast, maybe that's a $20,000 for a year. And the whole year they buy the show, they sponsor, you just shout them out on every show. And that's kind of like the keynote sponsor, but you don't have huge numbers. Well, I don't know, $20,000 is a meaningful amount of money. When you're also having fun and getting to hang out like we are right now and like create content and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's massive opportunity, and brands are finding a better ROI working with multiple micro and nano influencers than they are on just doing these big macro influencer campaigns.
I love it. I love it. So well broken down. Let's talk about, so the person who is maybe a little like getting started, equipment, what kind of microphone, what kind of lights, what kind of camera, like break it down, how simple it is to get started, or maybe just some thought process of how people get hung up on that.
Yeah. So I'd say, do you have $100?
Absolutely.
And a smartphone.
Right.
And a smartphone.
Right.
So you probably already have a smartphone.
Yep.
I think when it comes to getting started, all you need is this. You know, these phones have cameras that do 1080p. Most of them do 4K now. And really with nothing, I think using a smartphone, maybe do you have a dashboard mount in your car for your phone?
Absolutely.
For your GPS and
Of
stuff
course.
like that. So you might already have a phone, you might already have a dashboard mount. And one of my favorite places to film is in a car, if you are on a budget and you don't have other equipment, because the audio is perfect. You know, when you close the door and all of a sudden all the road noise is cut out, you're sitting in the parking lot, you take a call. Okay, now I'm able to talk to you, FaceTime with your family. So you already have that dash mount, vertical video, horizontal video, hit record, start riffing. Hey, I've been looking at, I spend most of my time in Snohomish County now with my family in the Pacific Northwest. So, hey, let's do our market update for rates this week. We're looking at rates, looking at new homes, new listings, and you're a local agent. Start filming in your car, quick update, just use your phone. It's daylight, lights coming in. You're ready to start. So you need nothing. But if you have $100, you could get a $20 microphone, plugs into the lightning port or the USB-C, connect that to your jacket. You've got a softbox light kit, could be $40 on Amazon. And you get a tripod so that you could sit on a table like this and put the phone vertical or horizontal for $20 on Amazon. And so then this is the acronym AVLS, Audio, Video, Lighting, Stabilization. So you have some kind of audio. And again, just the on-camera microphone. If it's in a quiet office or your car, audio is good enough. But you could get that $20 microphone on Amazon. Video, all good. The phone already does it. Lighting will make the video look better. So the L is invest in some lighting and it'll help any camera look a lot better. And then stabilization, some kind of tripod. And if you got the dashboard mount, selfie stick, even if you want to stand up and talk to the camera, I'm 6'1", to get a solid tripod that can be at a decent level for my height if I wanted to stand, it's $25 on Amazon. So accessorizing your smartphone, not making any excuses and starting with with what you have. It's never about your resources. It's always about your resourcefulness. And I think I would also encourage people, because they might say, okay, great, but I want it to be a little bit fancier. Like right now we're on thousands of dollars a gear at this moment. And so you can definitely invest in nicer stuff, but creativity works best in constraints. And
Say that again, because I think it's really important for that to really sink in for people.
Yeah, creativity works best in constraints. And for 9 out of 10 people I coach, they get the fancy stuff and they don't use it because they don't know how. It just stays in the box. Or they get the fancy stuff, they take it out of the box and turn it on, and they're like, why do I look green? Why is the audio not turning on? I thought this camera was gonna give me the blurry background, but it looks worse than my phone. Well, it's because you don't know how to use it. So you didn't know how to set the white balance, you didn't know how to do all the settings, and you just added 32 things of skills to learn, which I encourage over time, hence personal growth. Like you can learn this stuff, but starting with too much complexity ends up slowing you down more than it helps you speed up. Unless you're outsourcing and hiring somebody to help, start simple and scale as you go. The famous entrepreneur quote is, done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
A video shot on your phone, in your car, uploaded to YouTube, optimized right so that it can be found in Snohomish County, like my friend Zach McDonald, who does market updates, simple videos. Like this month, in real estate and he's getting lots of deal flow because he's just committed to make simple videos. That video on the internet is going to attract you a lot more business than you going to Amazon.com and hiding behind, well, when I get the right camera, or when I mean, even though it's 2 days on Prime, I'm going to wait 2 days to start. No, don't wait 2 days to start. Grab your smartphone right now and punch perfectionism in the face and press record.
I love it. What is the mantra? Tell people the mantra if they don't know the Think Media mantra that plays the piece that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean the audio tag is you gotta just press record, and it's funny as you were asking that I don't even like my mind's going blank. I mean,
That's
punch
the one
fear
I was
in the
looking
face,
for.
punch perfectionism in the face, and press record might be the three things, right?
Just press record.
By the way, I stole that from my friend John Acuff. It's part of his book title. It says start the punch fear in the face one, and so anyways. Shout out to John Acuff, but it's true. And I brought it into a video context. You got to just press record.
You got to just press record. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about in terms of like you have something you talked about on the channel about writing out the top questions for your audience. And then also maybe tie in something I love that, again, I heard you so loud and clear recently this last week, where you talk about the algorithm versus, people are focused on maybe somebody who's they feel like their views are a little slow, their subscribers are a little slow, they're getting discouraged. The algorithm versus know thy audience. Maybe talk about those, tie that all together.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so if you say, okay, Sean, I'm going to use my phone and start creating content, what videos do I make? I always encourage people to start by answering specific questions, especially professionals like this community. So you start thinking about, with all the knowledge you have about real estate, about loans, about investing, about the 25 different ways you could do real estate. How do I flip? How do I wholesale? How do I do sub 2 stuff? Whatever. You start getting specific questions about that. One question, one video. So if it's going to be a vertical video, less than 60 seconds, a YouTube short or Instagram reel, so people always ask, so how do I, what are the 8 things you shouldn't say when buying a home? Or what should you never say when buying a home? Or what are the best ways to qualify for a mortgage right now? Or what is the best loan? Or what is the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional loan? Like just a question, answer specific questions. And then you can do that 60 seconds or less vertical, because people say, how long should my videos be? Well, if you only had 60 seconds, what would your answer be? There's your vertical video. If you had 5 minutes, what would your answer be? I mean, if you had an hour, you might be able to get in front of a whiteboard and really break it down and maybe then walk people through. So let's say you made $5,000 a month. Let's put that up here. Let's divide it by this. Let's say your credit score is this. So you could take an ASQ formula video and do it in all kinds of different formats. But I would say, answer specific questions. And what are the top questions that people ask you? And if you're discouraged by views, one of the reasons to do this, even if your videos never got crazy views, is to duplicate yourself. Like, if you're a professional and you want to grow beyond just being a rugged individualist as an agent, you need to start outsourcing. Yeah. You need help. You got to hire help. You need to multiply yourself. You need an assistant. You need someone in the email inbox. You have eventually somebody else doing a lot of showings for you, maybe certain deals, certain clients. Well, the cool thing about video is you're leveraging your knowledge and giving your assistant a tool. So eventually, why not build up a portfolio of you just answering every question? Like, even if they didn't get views, because here's the thing, they will, and it can lead to other opportunities and new leads. But if you've now given your great answer for 8 minutes and put that on YouTube, now that it's in a library that when someone emails you or checks with you, or you could text them, they say, hey, I would love to connect. Oh, I'm kind of busy today. What's your question? Well, I was just kind of curious, which loan? Actually, I have a video for you. Just text them the link directly. Like, you're multiplying yourself. You're capturing yourself, putting in a video, and then able to growth hack within doing all of that. And then what I would say as far as growth is, and impatience and getting discouraged, number one, I feel you, because it's super painful when you work hard on a video and plan it, script it, maybe shoot it, and let's say you do some editing, and you edit the video for like 7 hours, and then it gets 7 views. Like, there's nothing that's more like a gut punch. And as soon as that happens, it's really easy to say, screw this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch Fargo season 5. That show is fire. Like, I'm about to go watch Bear season 2. Like, that'd be a lot better use of my time than this. Like, what are we talking about? And so I think you have to have the mindset that the time and energy and work that you put in at the start, you're going to be grossly underpaid. But that's the entrepreneur mindset. And the difference between the employee and the entrepreneur mindset is the entrepreneurs are willing to be grossly underpaid at the start so that they can be grossly overpaid later. Yeah. And so when you have to, it's like a rite of passage. It's the YouTube tax. You have to put in the 7 hours and get the 7 views. And you have to even have a mindset, I would argue, to be willing to do that for 7 years. Maybe not 7, but at least 3. Like if you're not committed to it for 3 years, I am overwhelmed by the amount of complaints and comments and feedback that I'll get on a video. Now, I have a big heart and a lot of empathy. So if somebody comments on one of my videos and they're like, Sean, this is my favorite comment. This happens all the time. I've done everything you've said. I have followed all of your advice. And it is just not working. I love this because I'm like, wow. Like at first I go, man, they must be in a dark place. So let me click through on their avatar and see what I can find on the other side. Let me just verify if they've done everything I've ever said and have followed all of my advice. 99% of the time, I click through on their avatar, which is already a red flag to me because they don't even have a profile picture. It just says G because it's George who left the comment. Okay, George. So I click through. Then I see on the other side, George has uploaded 5 videos in the last 5 weeks. Yep. And now he's saying the first video is a vertical video of him filming pigeons at the park. And he's telling me he's a real estate investor. And that video didn't get very many views. The second video is a clip of his daughter's dancing recital. And she's singing Frozen, Let It Go, Elsa. Yeah. And then one video is about real estate. And then there's another one that's poorly titled. That's like realestate.mp4. And so then I'm thinking, okay, George, in all due respect, I don't know if you followed everything I've ever said. Sure. And I don't know if you've applied all of the tips I've ever made. In fact, by my observation, it would seem, George, that maybe you were a little bit short of actually executing on even a fraction of the best practices I've recommended. But even if George has, some consistent videos and good thumbnails and good titles and good packaging and all already that's a lot, and good content and good delivery. What's common is maybe then I'll check in on Stacy and I'll look at her channel and she'll just be like, Sean, I have followed all of your tips. I have implemented every piece of your advice. I read your entire book and I am just so discouraged because it's not working. Yeah. Well, Stacy, how long have you been doing this? 6 weeks. What? 6 weeks? Yeah. Like 6 weeks? Stacy, you need to take a chill pill. Like I thought you were going to say like 6 years, but 6 weeks, you haven't even started yet. So I do see this massive gap in, I think, having realistic expectations. There's no area of life where we think that after 6 weeks, we're going to have radical results. Like I just turned 40. I'm trying to invest in my health a little bit. Yeah. It's been a good couple years of trying to invest. And I still believe the delusion that I just got my YMCA membership because they have childcare. I got a 3-year-old, 1-year-old. It's nice. So I drop them off in the kids zone so I can go get those gains. So, I've hit the gym 4 times since register. This is this year. This is only happening in 2024. I haven't even been back into a weight room in years. Ran a little bit, swung a kettlebell. Most days I will get up and run around the block a few times. And then I just slide the block back under my bed. Yeah. So, that's It's a bad joke. Sorry. Dad joke, 3-year-old.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I'm the lazy, like the lazy investor, right? The lazy landlord. I'm the lazy fitness guy. So I hit the gym 4 times and I get in front of the mirror and I'm like, where the heck is Brad Pitt Fight Club ripped?
Yeah.
What? I haven't completely transformed 10 years of neglect? Like, why hasn't it happened yet? 4 times at the gym. In fact, I look worse. I'm like swollen. I'm in pain. My back hurts. My traps are all jacked because I hit it way too hard because I didn't even like ramp back up into it.
Sure.
So I understand the mindset, but that's exactly what I think we think on YouTube. And so I think just having a much more commitment to the long haul. That's the thing, a commitment to the long haul. And what we started with, and I do want to wrap this, I know, in all my condescending tone
it's
to
great.
The absolute impatience of people. I think that it's just a matter of kind of like bringing it down a few notches and having expectations around some of the other ways to measure success. How are you changing in the process? How's it changing you? How's it developing you? Celebrating the 6 views, celebrating the 7 views, celebrating the 1 lead, celebrating the open door and the relationship. My friend Anton committed to posting a vertical video every day, 31 days a week, as a very busy agent, investor, doing some land development stuff. Leveraged some money, hired his son to edit some vertical videos he would just shoot. He did only vertical video. It's much more sustainable using just a Samsung Galaxy phone. And after 6 months of doing it, I was like, how many transactions have you recorded that this is done? He's like, well, I can't actually attribute any transactions. So I was like, okay, but what have you been learning? He said, well, 1, I've been learning that I'm still just figuring my voice out. I'm getting better at this.
Yeah.
It's helping me communicate more. But you know what I can say? The phone is ringing a lot more. I'm having a lot of people calling me like, hey, I saw you. It's leading to some conversations. And Sean, now that you say that, the phone rang because I started posting consistent content on social. And it was with somebody who wanted to do a deal. And now that I think about that, it's going to be about a $350,000 project. I'm like, how much would you net on that? And I can't remember what he said, 150 or, him and his partner would walk away with. So 6 months of consistent content, no direct attribution, but some also general attribution to what was happening. He's seeing how it's transforming him. But then he also was able to say, but the phone's been ringing more. And as the phone's ringing more, this deal would happen. I don't know if that would have happened at the right time and the right place had he not just seen me more. Because you want to be top of mind and tip of tongue in your industry and in your city and in your network. Consistent content can lead to that. So I think embrace the long haul and be committed to it for way more than 6 weeks. Even after 6 months, you're just getting started. And the greats really pick up the flywheel of momentum, usually after a few years. And so I think that's the right mindset.
I love it. So strong, so strong. One more big question, and we'll bring it. I know you have something going on in April. We're going to talk about that here in a moment. But one more big question. There was a buzz last night. We were at Ryan Pineda's office, and we look at like people, like a good friend of mine, how I met you was through hearing about you through Pace Morby. Mm-hmm. Pace is blown up. Yep. Ryan is blown up.
Yeah.
You talked even recently, you talk about a bodybuilder, this young guy that just does really raw footage.
Yeah, Sam Sillick.
You talk about him. What are just some of I know it's the consistency. You obviously really hit that home. Is there other characteristics or maybe part of a formula or recipe of somebody just having that rapid explosion?
Yeah, I think thing one is that rapid explosion is rare.
Okay.
So, there's like this verse in Proverbs that says, the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. So it's this idea of like, work as hard as you possibly can, prepare your horses, do your best practices, do all that stuff. But ultimately, victory belongs to the Lord. That magic moment belongs to the Lord. Another way to put it would be work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God.
Yes.
So like, I hope for everybody listening to this that they could have some viral success. They could just blow up. But actually, as I think about it, there's another verse in Proverbs that says an inheritance gained too early will not be blessed in the end. So sometimes I think that viral success is overrated because are you ready for it?
Right.
And what would it mean? Are you ready for the business? Are you ready for the pressure?
Yeah.
Are you ready, sometimes people think failure is hard to deal with. Success is way harder to deal with than failure.
Yeah.
And success crushes a lot more people than failure ever does. Failure, you actually might be kind of more happy and more content and might have a lot better circumstances than you even realize. Once success hits, man, pressure, money, temptation, blowing up your marriage, addiction, all kinds of stuff that can happen. So I just think that sometimes viral is overrated and rapid success is overrated. And I think that other times the reason whenever somebody has rapid success from here, we didn't see the foundation that went down the decade before.
Yeah.
Like they always say that overnight success takes 10 years.
Right.
It's overnight success to us on social media, but Alex Hermosi blew up overnight, but had years of his career and his results and his mindset work and his fitness work and his business results and everything. You don't just come out of the gate with that much wisdom. You had to actually pay the price to earn that wisdom. So anyways, I do think though the ingredients to viral success, I think one is going to be mastering and understanding the skill set. So you just got to become a student of YouTube, a student of the algorithm, a student of human psychology. I think two, it's mastery of a skill. The missing piece, I would say three, would be authenticity, common thing between everybody you mentioned. I don't know Sam Sulek, but one of the reasons why he's going viral right now, people are all on this authenticity thing. Yeah. He's just being himself. He's being like his quirky self, his authentic self. There's a raw and unpolishedness to it. But who I do know is Pace Morby. That dude is authentic. Yeah. He's just being himself. Right. He doesn't care about dressing like somebody else. He doesn't flex like somebody else. He just is completely himself. And that's who he truly is. Absolutely loves people, cares for his team, like is willing to stay endless hours and meetups. And when he told me he does 24-hour streams, 24 hours. Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how can that be quality at hour 18? Like what? But he is just absolutely diehard, but he's just being himself. Yes. You got the peace sign hat, you got the whole day, like he's Pace Morby. Similarly, Ryan Pineda is just being himself. People are like, what's with the colored hair? What's with, this or that? Like, he's actually just being himself. It's so weird actually when people critique, and I guess there's a lot of fake people out there. But what I can say, and wanted to make the point of before we get to authenticity, I think there's this circle of mastery. And when people say authenticity is a trend on YouTube, what they're missing though is the reason Sam Sulek is making these raw, authentic, stripped down vlogs and they're working. Yeah. Like, let's look at the giant in the room, Sam himself. He's an absolute freak of nature as it pertains to bodybuilding. Ain't nobody watching that show if he's Sean Cannell still trying to get that Brad Pitt Fight Club rip, let alone, the absolute, bodybuilder. So it is, you've gone super deep in that thing. And that's what that transcends YouTube, but it's what also helps you grow on YouTube. When somebody just shows up and they blow up, it's also the depth that they have. I think Alex Hermosi was worth $100 billion when he started creating content. 100 million, not billion. Yeah. And for the 99% of business coaches out there that got lucky once on a crypto deal. Right. Like they did a few crypto trades, maybe even rug pulled some people. And now they're like, so I'm a business expert. I mean, again, some of these people can pull a lot of views because they understand some of the circles. They understand the algorithm circle, but their real mastery, it doesn't go that deep. But if you look at anybody who's getting real results over a sustained period of time, like you look at Cody Sanchez, yes, she's not just good at content and understanding the algorithms. The business mastery and the sharpness of her content is super deep. And so then add the third circle. So I think it's master the platforms and the skill sets. Have a skill itself that you've mastered, which is, like Robert Greene mastery type of conversation. And then I think authenticity, though, is the 2024. I think this is a good opportunity for people that you don't have to have overly polished content. And the most recent trend is actually under-polished. People are really resonating with. There's a reason for that. People are fatigued. The number one most searched word on Merriam-Webster 2023 was the word authentic.
Wow.
And this is really a reaction to some things that have happened since the pandemic. Misinformation, mistrust. Should we take this jab or not? Like, is this really real? Who can we trust in the media? Can I listen to the right or the left media? Probably neither. Like, shoot, like, people are starving for lots of fake gurus, lots of crypto hype and NFT hype. People are looking for real, raw, authentic. They're looking for transparency. They're looking for that vulnerability. And that's always been powerful, but there is a vacuum for it in 2024. That's a big opportunity to, I think, lean into Sam Sulek, Ryan Trahan as kind of a more entertainment trending young person. Authenticity is a huge thing. So I think it's at the intersection of those three are some big pillars to work on. Mastery of the platforms, authenticity. That's going to be a trifecta that'll really help you win in 2024.
So strong. So strong. Thank you for that. So how can people find you? How can people spend more time? Tell them about the event. I can't wait for April.
Yes.
Grow with Video. Tell them about it, and where can they find out more information about it?
Yeah, so we're excited in Vegas, April 24th through the 26th. We're hosting an event called Grow with Video Live. We have Dave Ramsey speaking.
Yeah.
Pat Flynn, Shalene Johnson, a few other really cool speakers to be announced, confirming.
You've got some.
Yeah.
You got some big.
Yeah, we got a couple
right?
others. Yeah, and the M Hotel and Resort, growwithvideolive.com. It's very rare to have Dave Ramsey, and some people were like, "Why Dave?" Because especially too, is in your community as well. Yeah. I bet a lot of your community leverages credit, man. I bet a lot of people,
Absolutely.
They're not cutting up their credit cards, but respect to Dave's, of course, all his personal finance advice and all of that. But what people need to realize is when it comes to being a content creator, Dave's probably the GOAT over everyone.
Yeah.
He's the biggest personal finance YouTuber. He's built a team of personalities, something like 20 million views on his Clips channel, 10 million views a month. This is a month on his show. And then he's not only that, but he's been a media mogul through generations.
Yeah.
So there's so many people here that just chase trends. You're talking about a legend who's weathered seasons, ups and downs in the economy, multiple forms of media, best-selling author, best-selling course creator, Financial Peace University, ultimate leader, Entree Leadership, all of that, 1,000 people working at Ramsey. And he's never spoken into a media context before, and he never does anything. He doesn't have to actually leave Nashville. Why would he? And it wasn't cheap to get him either. But even him saying yes is pretty rare. So I'm super excited. Fireside chat, keynote from Dave. Platinum tickets, get a picture with Dave. It's pretty cool. Yeah. There's very few of those left, actually. But ultimately, we got Dave plus myself, the Think Media team. We have certified coaches and whatnot. So then we're on this. We're kind of like YouTube scientists and social media scientists, where we're just always testing, experimenting, and sharing our best practices. So if you're just wanting to get started and maybe explore this content creation world, growwithvideolive.com. If you think about the intersection of what are the tactics working right now, what are the best tools for creating content, and what are the trends that I should be leveraging, think Grow with Video Live. And then a lot of time for networking and connections. So we're really excited about the event. Would love to hang out, shake anybody's hand that wants to join us in Las Vegas, April 24th through the 26th at the M Hotel.
I love it, folks. We're going to look forward. I know Michael's going to be there. Adrian Hernandez is going to be there. Myself. I know basically a lot of Michael's experts, the Millionaire Panel. A lot of us are going to be there. So again, it's growwithvideolive.com, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Sean. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. God bless you and your family, man. Thank you for everything you shared today.
Oh, thank you for having me.